Time for a quick commercial.
That's right, Ellie. This episode is brought to you by Anchor. Anchor is the easiest way to make a podcast. Anchor gives you everything you need in one place for free, which you can use right from your phone or computer. Creation tools allow you to record and edit your podcast so it sounds great. And they'll even distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard everywhere. Places like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and many more. You can easily make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. To get started, download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm today.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for Throwback Thursday.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Lessons for Success show. I'm your host, Adam Wardlaw, a middle school science teacher and a high school football coach here in the state of South Carolina. Thank you again to everyone who supported the show in our first batch of lessons. By the end of Season 1, Lessons for Success have been heard in 10 countries worldwide and 36 states here in America. Hopefully you all gained some valuable insight from the guests we had. I decided to take the show in a new direction, and I'll begin doing short daily episodes to mimic what I'm doing with my students in the classroom, and I hope you'll make these episodes a part of your daily routine. Monday episodes will feature motivational pieces intended to help pump you guys up mentally for the week ahead. Tuesday episodes will feature practical advice for a variety of topics in order to help you guys function more efficiently. Wednesday episodes will feature wise words from a variety of sources, including movies and songs. On Thursdays, we'll look back in the history books at important events and talk about the lessons we can draw from them. And on Fridays, the show will feature feel-good stories intended to send you off into the weekend on a high note. Keep up with the show on social media at L4S Show or use the hashtag L4S Show. That's the number 4. And before I forget, you can support the show by giving a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. Now let's start the show. Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Lessons for Success Show podcast. It's Thursday, and that means we're going to look back in the history books and see what lessons we can pull from these moments in our past. Did you know that during this week in the year 1773, the Boston Tea Party occurred? If you're unfamiliar with this event in American history, it is one of the major events that signify the coming American Revolution against Britain. You see, during this time, the British government was initiating taxes on the American colonies in order to reap financial gain from the colonies they initially started. The American colonists were infuriated with these taxes that were being placed on them without any other input. So on December 16, 1773, a group of colonists disguised themselves as Native Americans and boarded a trade ship in the Boston Harbor, where they proceeded to dump 342 chests of tea into the waters below. This was roughly 45 tons of tea poured overboard, and in today's market, this would be valued at roughly $1 million. The British government would respond to this act by trying to implement more taxes on goods being provided to the colonists as a form of punishment. These acts would motivate the colonists to form the First Continental Congress, where they would discuss a revolt against British rule. So what lessons can we draw from this moment in American history? Well, I think this story illustrates some of the American spirit that we can still see today. America is a free country, and as you can see in the news cycle today, the ideology of resisting government influence that you disagree with is still alive and well. No matter what side of the political spectrum you're on, we can all agree that what makes America great is our right to speak on actions that we may agree or disagree with. In our own lives, we should not be afraid to live by our own moral codes if it is what we believe is the right thing to do. Things will not always occur in a manner that we agree with, but this does not mean that we shouldn't be able to discuss these matters in a respectful and appropriate manner. So if there are things that you disagree with occurring in your daily life, take the necessary steps in order to create a conversation where you can voice your opinion in a respectful context. We must be able to work together in order to continue to function as a society. Well, guys, that's it for this episode of Lessons for Success. Don't forget to reach out to the show on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at L4S Show. Again, that's the number 4. Feel free to share your thoughts on this episode. All the episodes are available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts or anywhere else podcasts can be found. So be sure to like, subscribe, and rate. Thank you again for listening to the Lessons for Success Show podcast.